everyone, just thought I would pop on and do a little video on the junk journal that I started making, the one that's a little bit bigger than my normal mini journals. So I've dyed up some paper and I've sorted that out into signatures. And I've got my cover. That's right here. So this is, let's put it up the right way. This is the front outside cover. And this is the inside cover. Now you could absolutely do it the other way around. I've just done it that way because that's the natural fold of the box. So this cover has a right way up. So in order to make sure that we keep the right way up, I'm just going to put a clip on the top so that it reminds me where we're at. So what I'm going to do now, I've got my cover sorted, is to just sort out these signatures. I've counted them out, and I'm kind of keeping this to be a kind of just a vintagey journal, not too much of a theme going on. Now I'm going to have to trim these papers, but I just thought I would put them in order first. So I've got my signature cover, which is a piece of, it's not quite A4 paper, so that'll probably be okay. So I'm just going to fold it in half for now, just to check where we're at inside the cover. So the cover is here, and that will fit. So I probably need to trim it down a tiny bit. Oops, I've knocked you now, so you're jumping around. Sorry about that. Okay, so that is all going to need to be trimmed down a little tiny bit. I've got this, that needs to go in the centre. So then I've got my ordinary pages. I've got that way around, I think. This is all just really plain coffee dye paper. So I just thought I would, what I'll do is I'll put that in the middle. We've got a bit of variety. And then I'm going to put this in the centre. Make sure that that's the right way up. So that is that. And we're going to put this on the outside. That'll be the signature. That's that. And then this one. So we've got another signature cover. These signature covers, I've printed them out. The digitals that I'm using here are from Shabby Dabby Doodah, and I think this is her London collection. I'll try to remember to link it down below. So that's the signature cover. Then I've printed out, this is just an illustration that I got from, I'm trying to remember where I got it from now. One of the free to download images on one of the sites for that. I'll try and link that below as well, so that you know where that came from. So that will go in the centre, and then I've got this paper. So we can take that. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to stick that in the middle for a bit of variety. Up there. This will be the centre page. Actually, I'll put an ordinary one there. That'll be that. That'll be that. That will go in the centre like that. So we need to make sure that this is the right way up. This one has the right words out, a right way up to it. And then we've got our signature cover. That's that. So this paper is a little bit thicker than just your ordinary copy of paper. So I've done it again. Right, that's that. Last one. Right, so I'll pop that around about the middle like we did before. This will go in what is the middle. Just trying to work out which way round this is. That way round, I think. That will give us that, and that will give us that's all the right way up. Good. Good. So let's just put a clip on these. So that's that for now. I've also got this envelope that I'd kind of stenciled. I'll put that in somewhere, I'm not quite sure where. And I've also got a doily for the centre of each of the signatures. So I may put it in between here. I may put it in between here. But there's one for each of those that I've coffee dyed as well. So that will be something that I'll do once I've kind of got everything together. So I'm just going to stop this one for now because I'm going to trim the pages, and that's not very interesting for you to watch. So rather than kind of take a long time making a massive great big video about that, I will stop this one and come back once I've trimmed the pages down a little bit. Hi there, so I've trimmed the pages down and ended up trimming about 1 centimetre off the width so that I know they're going to fit now. So the signature now should sit quite nicely in the book. May still need just a tad, but we'll see. I think we'll be all right. So this is the back, the cover, as you know, and this is my first signature that I've got all ready to rock. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to really press this down. Like that. There we go. Let me just see if I've got, where are my big, there they are. Let's have a couple of these. So just while I'm marking up and doing the holes in the cover, I'll just grab a couple of these bigger paper clips so that I can just kind of tease that into place a little bit better. So within the signatures, I've put a doily in the centre, and I've put an envelope in some of them, not all of them. Not quite sure what I've done with that actually. Let me just check what I've got in here. So I've got my doily, I've got my tracing paper vellum, I've got my pages, I've got an envelope in this one. Yeah, that's what I've got in that one. Okay, so that is that. And in the others, I've got a variety of other little bits and pieces to pop in. So I've got a book page, an old book page from an old directory. I'll show you what I've got. I've got a book page that I can put in from an old dictionary, and I've got these papers that I can put in to kind of make things a little bit, so you're not all one page, one size of page. It makes a little bit of variety. So they are to go into the other ones, but I just thought I would show you this one and marking up the cover and how we're going to do that. So this is quite a dark background. I don't think a pencil mark is going to show up on this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a pen for now, and we'll see if that shows up, if that's easier. So I tend to come down probably, I don't know, probably about that much. And I tend to just do it by eye. So I'm going to say that's probably more or less the centre. And then I think we have one here and we have one here, because we're going to have 3 signatures. So we'll have one there, we'll have one there, we'll have one there. I'm just looking at that and seeing if that's around about the centre. Yeah, it looks like it to me. Doesn't have to be spot on. It really, it just doesn't have to be. So what I tend to do now is just to try and keep them in line with each other, because that is quite important, is I will use a ruler. So that edge is more or less the size of the ruler. So we'll go down here for the bottom one. We'll make that around about there. And then the middle one we'll just do, I make it a little bit higher than the middle, so you know what way up is top then. If you make it slap bang in the middle, it won't be obvious, but you'll know that the one that has the shorter distance that's the top, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to come down here, round about straight. I'm just kind of doing it by eye, keeping it more or less straight. I'm going to come down here for that one, and I'm going to come down here for that one. Now, that looks all right to me. So let's just see. I'll put our pen away for now, so we don't lose that. Let's have a little drink. Now I've got my hole punch. This is the Crocodile Big Bite. It just helps when you're doing something that you need to get deep, because you can get literally the whole thing in here. So I'm just going to do, let's just see, well, should we use the middle one or the, that's a bigger hole. Let's use, okay, so I don't know if you can see, but you can, this is the one we're going to use. Okay, so let's go. Let's go. So you just line it up with your mark and you just chomp it. Just line that up with your mark and you just chomp it. I'm trying not to rock the table too much, but it's not easy to do that. So I'm going to go down to the next one. That's that. Across to the middle. That's that one. And then let's just go in here. That's that hole. That's that hole. And that's that hole. Excellent. So now we've got our holes. Good, not bad at all. So we'll just pop that down for a sec. And then all I do with the signature and how to mark that up is I'm just going to take these clips off for a second. So I want to mark the holes up on the inside. So in order to do that, I need to fold it back on itself. Make sure we've folded it back straight, because sometimes that can all wiggle around a little bit. It's hard, I'm not going to lie to you, it's hard with the doily because that does shuffle around a little bit. I try to pin it down with a paper clip to just make it, try and keep it still. Let's just pop one down here as well. See if that helps. Okay. Okay, so now we've bent ourselves backwards. We've got ourselves more or less straight. That looks okay. I'm going to use this one. I'm going to use this one as the front page. All we want to do is mark it up. You can use a pencil for this because it's quite a pale colour, so it will show up. Far enough down? No, not. Now we're far enough down. Should be just inside the top and at the bottom. Fabulous. So now we've got our marks. I can just about see them. Got one here, got one here, and we've got one here. So what we're going to do is going to punch those holes now. It's basically the same process. Just going to find our, there we go, find our gap. We're going to make sure as much as possible that we are punching on the fold. Okay. Come on, Mr. Doily. You stay still. Just make sure we're on the fold here. That's that one. I'm going to come back in here. So that we're on the fold again. That should be on the fold. I think this moved about a little bit, so hopefully that is going to be more on the fold. It looks like it's a little bit wonky, but it's not majorly bad. Okay, so let's just see if that's going to work or not. We are just a little bit off at the bottom, but it is a tiny amount, so I don't think it's going to make any difference. So now what we want to be doing is sewing it in to the cover. I'm not going to do all of the signatures because you guys have seen me do this a whole lot, so I won't bore you too much, but I just thought I'd show putting the first one in. Okay, so I'm going to get my big needle out, and then I'm using wax thread for this one. And what we want is we want it to be 1, 2, 3, and a little bit over either end. That's all that done. That's that. thread our big old needle. That is that. Right, so I'm going to go in the middle one first, which is this one. I should put my big glasses on for this, but let's give it a go and see if we can manage without the big glasses. I'm going to do the front first. Now, some people work back to front. I don't think it matters. I work front to back sometimes. Sometimes I work back to front. I don't think it really matters too much. So we're in that way, and then we want to make sure that we're in the top hole. We're going to come through the top hole here too. I think it's just the doily that I've missed. That's it. I think we're through. You have to be careful with the doily because it will tear, but it is kind of anchored in with this middle one, so we should be all right. And then I want to go out through the bottom one, which is right here. I'm going to make sure that we're coming through the bottom one that's in line, which is not. So, job be checked. So here's the one that we want. Come in out of that one. So we've gone through here, all the way through here. And then we're going to go back in through the middle. Right, okay, so that's that. I'm going to come through there. So what we want to do is to just double check. See, it will tear up here. So hopefully we can always put a bit of, what's it called? Tape on that, washi tape or something. So before I tie it off, just want to make sure that we are all up the right way with everything. So this is up the right way. This is definitely up the right way. This cover up the right way. Let's take these off. Then there isn't anything really in here that needs to be orientated the right way up, apart from the envelope which we're using as a pocket. So that's that. And the vellum paper which has got a right and a wrong way up. So that's good. We are all the right way up and all orientated properly. So we can now just tie this off. Now we want it to be tight, but not, you know, not tearing all the paper up. I know this looks a little bit cack-handed, but I tried to do one left over right and then one right over left. And I'll just do two. When we're completely finished, I'll tie them all off with 3 knots. But I'm not going to worry about that too much at this stage of the game. So here's our signature. Must stick that down a bit better. Okay, so now we've got our first signature in there. It all fits hunky-dory. I think that looks quite cool in there. So I'm going to go ahead and put the others in, and I will show you how that looks when I'm finished. Thank you ever so much for watching for now, and I'll show you the finished article once I've sewn all the other ones in. Hi everyone, so I've managed to sew all of the signatures in now. I just thought I'll quickly show you what they all look like. I couldn't get the doily situation to work in the way that I wanted to, so I've left the doilies out of the last 2 signatures. I'm going to try and work out a way of doing that in a better way. I just wasn't happy the way that they were sitting. So I've now got my signatures in. There's nothing much to show you because they're all just ready to be decorated, these pages. See, this one did manage to sit in, but the other 2, I didn't get them done properly. They seemed to be wanting to break. So I'll have to work out a better way of doing that. So that's my first signature. What I tend to do is to paper clip them and leave them for a couple of days so they settle. The fold settles down. I've got this one, just got the little bit of extra paper in there. I was going to put in the bit from the dictionary, but that didn't fit properly, so that I left that out. So that's that one. I'm just going to leave that to settle there. And then there's the last one. All just plain at the moment. So there we go. They are all in. I'm just going to fold that up. And I'm just going to put one down the bottom of this as well, because on this one, for some reason, the vellum-y tracing paper centerpiece is not, it's kind of peeling up a little bit. So we're going to leave that. What I will do is come back and put some tape down here, some washi tape or some sari silk, I'm not quite sure what yet, and down here, so that all finishes the cover off properly at the inside. But that is all ready to decorate now. So thank you very much for watching. Hope you have enjoyed having a look at me starting to get this one together. And if you have, just give it a like and a thumbs up, or follow, subscribe, all of that stuff. That would be fantastic. Thanks ever so much for watching, and I'll catch you all again soon. Bye for now.